The atmosphere in Parliament was nothing short of explosive today as the widow of the late Nathi Mthethwa made an unannounced and dramatic appearance during a heated parliamentary session. The tension in the room was palpable even before she spoke, but what followed left the entire nation in shock, and the ruling party in total disarray. Eyewitnesses described the moment as electrifying and emotional when Mrs. Mthethwa, dressed in black and visibly furious, walked into the chamber escorted by security personnel and demanded to speak. The Speaker of Parliament initially tried to stop her, but the murmurs and rising chants from opposition MPs forced her to yield. Moments later, Mrs. Mthethwa stood at the podium, staring directly at President Cyril Ramaphosa and several high-ranking ANC officials seated on the front bench. Her voice trembled with both rage and grief as she began. "You sit here pretending to serve this nation, but you all know what happened to my husband. You watched him die in silence, and now you act as if you care. Every one of you who covered up the truth, you all must be arrested." The chamber erupted. EFF MPs began pounding on their desks in support while ANC members shouted back in anger, demanding that she be removed. Security officers were called to intervene, but by then, Mrs. Mthethwa's words had already shaken the room to its core. According to sources close to the family, Mrs. Mthethwa has been gathering information privately about her husband's mysterious death. Her outburst came just days after new revelations allegedly linked high-ranking government figures to the suspicious circumstances surrounding Mthethwa's final days. Documents and leaked communications have hinted at internal power struggles, money trails, and political betrayal, all of which seem to support her accusations. In her fiery address, Mrs. Mthethwa accused the government of orchestrating a cover-up. "I have waited months for justice. The police said they were investigating, yet nothing was done. My husband trusted this system, and that system killed him. But the truth is out now. The world will know who is responsible." President Ramaphosa remained silent throughout her speech, his face expressionless. Several ministers were seen whispering among themselves, while opposition leaders demanded that Parliament launch an independent inquiry into the case. EFF leader Julius Malema rose immediately after Mrs. Mthethwa's statement, shouting, "This woman speaks the truth. This parliament is full of criminals who hide behind the constitution. Justice for Nathi Mthethwa. Justice for every South African silenced by corruption." The speaker struggled to restore order as the entire chamber descended into chaos. Fists were slammed on desks, accusations flew across the floor, and security personnel stood helplessly as MPs shouted over one another. Later, outside Parliament, Mrs. Mthethwa addressed a crowd of supporters who had gathered after news of her appearance spread. With tears in her eyes, she declared, "They think they can intimidate me. They think I will be silent like others who came before me. But I will not stop until every name, every hand involved in my husband's death, is exposed and punished." Her courage has since ignited a nationwide wave of support. Social media platforms exploded with hashtags like #JusticeForMthethwa, #ArrestThemAll, and #Ramaphosa must answer. Prominent figures across political lines have begun calling for an emergency session to address the widow's accusations. Legal analysts have also weighed in, suggesting that Mrs. Mthethwa's claims, if backed by evidence, could trigger one of the most significant political crises in South Africa's democratic history. Insiders say that certain members of parliament are already scrambling to distance themselves from the unfolding scandal, fearing what might come next. As night fell, the steps of parliament were flooded with citizens carrying candles and placards bearing Nathi Mthethwa's name. Chants of "No justice, no peace" echoed through the streets of Cape Town. The image of his widow standing defiantly in Parliament, tears in her eyes, voice unbroken, it has already become a symbol of resistance against political corruption and impunity. Whether her words will lead to arrests or another government cover-up remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: South Africa will never forget the day Nathi Mthethwa's widow faced the nation's most powerful men and demanded justice, no matter the cost.